I really hate you so much, I think it must be true love. I just can't help myself. She likes to fight nature.
There's no you. Drink tequila for me, babe. Let it hit you cool and hot. Let your feelings be revealing that you can't forget me.
Hold you tight straight through the daylight. I'm right here when you gonna realize that I'm your pure heartbreaker. But she sneaks out the window to meet with her boyfriend. Here's what she told me the time that I caught him. Friends, I know that I'm crazy, but they're the only friends that I have. I know I don't know you, but I'd like to skip the small talk and romance, girl. That's all I have to say, so baby, can we dance? I wanna be every lonely night, every drunken spot, gonna make it right, I know. If it hurts your back, put it on my tab, I can pay it back tenfold. You're the only place I've ever called my home. Yeah, we the topic of the town. We might as well just own it now. It ain't no rumor. No, it ain't no rumor. Yeah, they caught us hooking up all in my whip. Man, I need it for you. And there's no guarantee that this will be easy. Cause I think you're from another world, and I couldn't love another girl. Cause you make me with your best shot. Tell me off, tell me off, tell me off. I said, hey, so hit me where it hurts. Say my name.
Boy, you've been to me. I got the recipe, and it's called black magic. It's called black magic. Take a sip from the secret.
Truth, can we both say the words, say forget this? Is it too late now to say sorry? Cause goes down when the stars come out. Whoa, it's always a good time, and all that counts is here. Downtown, downtown, girl, girl. Downtown, downtown, girl, girl. Likes the attention, gets the attention. Your glass, won't you come on and raise your glass? Just come on and
never do me wrong and fed me all your lies. I don't know how you got along. I wasted roses on you.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I could die happy in his eyes. And said I wasn't like the others, so I fell under your spell, and I don't know if I'll break. I just wanna hold you, baby, call you mine.
Through the good and bad and all in between, you're the one I want and the one I need. So tell me you'll be right here with me. No one can say what we get to be. Why don't we rewrite the stars, changing the world to be ours?
Happy, so through the key to let me lie, yeah, that ship sailed away. Love me, baby, how you doing? Can you let me know? Love me, thank you, leave me, put it down, then it's time to go. Get it like you love me, but you don't, boy, it's just for sure.
Land in Miami, the air was hot from summer rain, sweat dripping off me before I even knew her name.
I'm going to buy. You better move. You better dance.
Extra, beat all about my head.
I don't know why you're dancing in my mind. From the breaking of the day to the middle of the night.
Never felt so good, never felt so fine. Haven't been this happy in your whole damn life. You've never felt so good.
I'll do it all for you. You do it too. Even if I'm 7,000 miles away.
Something right, you're jumping in the ivy's town. I want something stronger.
Everything will be alright if you keep me next to you. You don't know about me, but you want to. Everything will be alright if we just keep dancing.
I got a bottle of tequila I've been saving for you.
Thank God. 'Cause he better know my worth. There's so much that I deserve, but I ain't worried now. I'ma let my head down.
That I've been dreaming of. Is this just another song about love? I need your voice, I need your lips, I need. So lovely and I can't see why I'd do anything without you. You are real and I'm not with you.
My breath away, she's got me calling every day. I can't seem to get enough. Could this be love?
Oh, you gotta slow it down.
Better than this. You take my hand and drag me head first, fearless, and I don't know why, but we.
I confess that I want you laying beside me. 'Cause girl, I know that you're a freak.
He's like
feeling like my